So, Nisha, favourite television show?
That's such a hard question because I've got so many.
I'm sorry for asking you such a difficult question so early in the afternoon.
I have so many favourites.
Filio Farnsworth is the brilliant mind behind television, meaning technically he's partially responsible for the creation of Breaking Bad, The Wire, and that one Super Bowl advert starring Daft Punk. All things I hope have earned Mr. Farnsworth infinite blowjobs in heaven from whatever deity he happens to follow. However, did you know that when Filio Farnsworth was trying to convince people about the benefits of television, people told him it would never make any money?
Yeah, first things first, Farnsworth. You know, I'm pretty sure not just me that thinks of someone else when I hear that name.
Yes. I'm guessing most people in the audience are like, wait a minute, Farnsworth, as in Professor Farnsworth from Futurama? Is there some link here? And yes, there is, because Professor Farnsworth in Futurama was named for the inventor of television, Mr. Filio Farnsworth, and they even have a reference to that in one episode. I forget what the episode is, but they show, like, we're tracking your DNA to show your ancestors. And Farnsworth goes, oh, look, here's one of my old ancestors, the inventor of television. They show a picture of Filio there. So for everyone wondering, Professor Farnsworth is a direct reference to this man and is a knowing nod to his role as the creator of television as a medium.
It's like, Professor Farnsworth is like an inventor, isn't he? So
yes, he is. And that's sense. One of the things, I think that's what they mentioned in that episode. Like, oh, look, I come from a long line of inventors, including the guy who invented fucking TV. And the story goes that Farnsworth, the man, not the cartoon character, was inspired to create television when he saw a farmer's field. You know, I'm thinking, Karl, what's the link between television and a farmer's field? Which I say, shut up and I'll answer you. And it is that Farnsworth saw the rows of a freshly ploughed field and thought about how about if those rows were images. I thought, that was a series of electrical impulses. You could create an image using that because that's how early television was created. It was just a series of bars. And I'm not sure if you remember, Nisha, do you remember having a big old CRT TV?
I think so, yeah. Like a really big, chunky TV.
Yeah, the one that puts your dad's back out when he moves it into the house. And did you ever do the stupid kid thing of pressing your eye right against it?
No.
To see how it worked. So if you would have done that, you'd have seen it's the image of old television was created just by a series of lines, which is just a more refined and sophisticated version of Farnsworth's original concept. I think today it's done with like dots or pixels.
I wouldn't dare do anything like that because I was scared when I was younger. Because I was told the closer I sit to the television, I'll get square eyes. I don't know if you were ever told that. And I was like, I don't want square eyes, but I thought it meant physical square eyes.
Yeah, that's like one of my favourite memes is that one. It's just like, oh man, your parents 10 years ago, don't sit too close to a screen, it'll damage your eyes. Us today, and it shows a guy wearing VR goggles and the TV's just there. What was it with parents and telling weird, bizarre lies about strange things that had happened to your body if you did or didn't do something? Which I remember being told, if you don't eat your crusts, you won't get hair on your chest. And I remember thinking, well, that just sounds uncomfortable, so I never ate my crusts.
Oh, God, I think one of mine was, I think it's a popular one as well, if you eat carrots, you'll see in the dark. I'm like, that sounds awesome, but I still didn't eat them.
And for people, before they post it in the comments, that is World War II propaganda. We know that is World War II propaganda, just like we know about Wojciech, the Polish cavalry bear, and like Jack Churchill, the guy who fought in World War II, with a long sword and a bow. Everybody fucking knows. Stop asking. Stop making those requests. They're really boring. But the one that I was always like super, super skeptical of, though, is like, you better eat your vegetables or you won't grow up big and strong.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, that is a real thing. Like, you need to have a healthy, balanced diet. But it's like, so why is like old people so short and all my grandma eats is like fucking veg? She's like 5 foot tall.
Something doesn't add up.
All she ever made when we went to her house was like boiled veg that tasted awful. But chips tasted ace, and so did like burgers and stuff.
Yeah.
So why is the stuff that tastes awesome, the stuff that's bad for me? It's a damn. God. Before we move on, I think my other favourite one was, I don't think it happens as much anymore, but like back when I was younger, it was a oddly popular thing for women to point at the biggest man in the room and say, do what you're told or the man will get you. Did you ever have this? Did you not have that?
I don't think so, no.
Well, that was a thing when I was younger. It's like, if you don't do what you're told, that man will get you.
Oh,
and they'd just point at some random dude. And there's a great comedy bit by Dara O'Brien about it, where because he's like quite a tall, intimidating-looking dude at first glance. And he said he was on a bus and someone was doing that to him to try and get their kid to stop acting up. And Dara O'Brien's like, what do you mean? What is it about me? Why do you single me out? Why do you think I would scare your child the most? And he said he was so tempted to just go up and grab the child, like, I am the man! Do you remember the old Russell Howard joke where his dad had the dinner witch?
The dinner witch? Oh.
The dinner witch. Okay, this is another comedy bit by the comedian Russell Howard, so I'll give him some credit for this one. He said his dad, when he was younger, if his sister didn't clean her plate, he'd say, oh, well, if you don't finish your plate, the dinner witch is coming. And she'd be like, I'm not scared of a dinner witch. And then the dad would go, what is that I hear? And then Russell Howard would go outside and knock on the door. And his dad would go, it's the dinner witch. And his sister would eat all the food. It's like scaring kids into doing what they're told. It's so cruel, but it works.
Didn't like Limac have something similar as well, where if his son would play up, he said, if you don't like behave yourself, the same thing that happened to your brother Timmy will happen to you, and he'd just like pull out this bag of like teeth and stuff. So this is what's left of your brother Timmy or something.
And then there was the Limac joke where he says there was a lady who was on CBeebies, a British channel dedicated to entertainment for children, who had one arm, and Limac would tell his kid, the joke he says is like, parents found it difficult to explain to their kids why this lady has one arm. It's like, I think it's great. Why would you complain about that? Long story short, my kid don't pick their nose anymore. And it's like, it's so fucking harsh. Like, what is it with comedians and just like turning childhood trauma into comedy? So, which is bad. So I think the last one I'll talk about is it's a Jason Manford joke where his dad, when he was younger, would tell him, oh, if the ice cream van played a song, it meant it had no ice cream left.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
It's like, that's so fucking cruel.
Oh, it's so good, though.
It's playing music. I mean, he's got no ice cream left, son. Not the joke. Oh, I fucking love it. Anyway, Filio Farnsworth.
If we bring it back to Farnsworth, why did people tell him it wouldn't make money with this invention that he had?
It's simply because, for some inexplicable reason, people back then did not see the value of displaying moving images on a screen. And it's a tale as old as the art of invention itself, where people can never see the value of something until it becomes ubiquitous. You just go back to around the 90s when there were many lengthy articles written about the fact like, this whole cell phone, this mobile phone, this portable phone fad is never going to take off. Why do people need to have a phone on them at all times? And now it's the most ubiquitous personal device anywhere on Earth. Like, everybody has one and people are never fucking off them.
Didn't someone say, the internet will never take off?
Yes. That's a famous one. It's a Times article, I believe, or The Economist, where it's the internet's a fad. Now it's one of the most popular articles on their online digital fucking website. The internet's a fad. No one's going to use the internet for anything. And you can see that throughout history. And you go, even the invention of entertainment mediums, people didn't think television was going to take off, because why would you watch television? Radio's so popular. When it was radio, why would people listen to the radio instead of reading a book? Why would people read a book instead of going to a play? It's a tale as old as time. And Filio Farnsworth was understandably quite annoyed by the fact he saw this literally world-changing invention, and all of his investors would just constantly harass him about, but how is it going to make us money?
Yeah.
They couldn't see the value of beaming images directly into people's homes. How is this going to make us money? It's like, are you fucking stupid? It's like, you've got a literal captive audience with this thing. Anyway.
Well, what's this about him having a sense of humour?
Well, the story goes that Filio Farnsworth was showing an early prototype version of television to a group of investors who were impressed by the device but didn't really see the value of it. And the legend goes that one of these investors just snarkily said to Filio Farnsworth, "That's all well and good, but when are we going to start seeing some dollars on this thing?" To which Farnsworth responded by walking into the other room where the image that was on the television was coming from, tinkered around for a few minutes, and then walked back into the room. He then turned the television back on, at which point the unmistakable silhouette of a dollar sign flashed up on the screen.
Oh, that's a good joke.
It's a good joke as well, and it showed the value of the device. You can put anything you want on this thing. So I forget what the first image he showed them was, but when they saw this dollar sign, they got the cartoony dollar signs in their eyes of wait a minute, we can show anything on this.
Yeah, that's when they realised.
We can put holy shit, yeah, we can put anything on this. And that reminds me of one of my favourite stories from business, which is how James Cameron convinced 20th Century Fox to let him make a sequel to Aliens.
Right.
And what he did is he walked into their office for a pitch, wrote Alien on a whiteboard, and the Fox executive's like, okay. And then he put an S at the end of Alien, and they're like, oh, okay then. And then he put 2 lines through the S to turn it into a $, and that was his pitch. And Fox executives are like, fucking yes, here's $19 million. That's how I did it.
Wow. That was easy.
And it was just as easy for Filio Farnsworth. And the rest, as they say, is history, and those investors very quickly shut their fucking mouths, and Filio Farnsworth got his money, and television became the cultural changing juggernaut it is today. And just to end on, because this is quite interesting, Filio Farnsworth, despite inventing television, never really ended up seeing the value of it. And to end on, because this is kind of hilarious, Filio Farnsworth, after inventing television, never really watched it, and would reportedly say, when asked about it by journalists, there's never anything good on. He invented it and it's like, oh, there's no good on. And in addition to not really watching television, I think he only ever appeared on it once on a game show. And that appearance is super fucking depressing because nobody on it knew who he was. Because the game show was, you've got to guess what the person does for a living. So, what are they famous for? And he was on, he's like, I invented television. And I was like, oh. And there's like this really polite, but like, so I invented TV. And like, yeah, sure. Cool. Yeah, no one awesome. And that's it. And you can just tell that he doesn't give a fuck. And the story goes that he carried on in his thinking that television was basically worthless, right up until he watched the moon landing live on television, at which point he is rumoured to have turned to his wife and said it was all worth it after all. So, yeah, he did see some value in it in the end. It's just a shame he never got to live long enough to see The Simpsons. Maybe he'd have been super on board then. Like Golden Age Simpsons would have fucking turned him around. Maybe seeing Futurama as well. I wonder what you think of that.
Yeah, at the start of this video, you asked me what my favourite TV show was, and I feel like I should have gone with Futurama, given the name of the inventor is Farnsworth. I should have gone with Futurama.
Not so much people might know this about Nisha. She's a huge, huge Futurama fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of your favourite shows. Like, you quote it all the time. And it's like, she's as bad with Futurama as I am with The Simpsons. So, in that vein, Nisha, any favourite Futurama moments?
Well, if we're sticking with Farnsworth, I love it. That scene where he gets really annoyed. I can't remember specifically what it's about, but he gets really annoyed and he says, I'm going to go in my angry dome. And then it cuts to a scene where he's just like shaking his fists in his dome of his house. It's really funny.
I like the one where it's like,
any of like Farnsworth quotes just get me. Like
all the Farnsworth scenes are amazing. Like the one where it's like, I need to go to my thinkatorium, and just like a dome comes over his head, and then a disco ball comes down.
Yes.
that one gets me every time. Or the other one was like, so Fry's got a little ink, and he turns around, he's got Thug Life written on his back, and just hip hop starts playing. It's like, it gets me every time.
When
completely by surprise.
When the crew's in trouble, and I think he looked through his telescope at him, and he's like, I should help them, but I am already in my pajamas, and he just falls asleep.
And then just goes to fucking sleep. I like the one where it's he's teaching. What's his son's name again? Is it Hugo?
Yeah, I think Hubert.
Hubert. He's teaching his son Hubert. It's like, yes, here's the half-invented things you'll finish your life inventing. And it's like, here's my universal translator, but unfortunately, it only translates into a long dead language no one understands. It's like, hello, bonjour. Like, so fucking harsh. I fucking love it. I love that character so much. His greatest invent, like the thing longer.
Oh, yeah.
Just a really long finger, and that's it.
Yeah, that's always all he uses it for is to turn a TV on, funnily enough, which predicts the future.
What's that? Yeah, I've got a TV that predicts the future, but look at my thing longer.
Oh, that's it. The characters ask it, like, what if? It's the what if machine. Oh, the what if machine, yeah. They ask it, what if I was like 10 feet, not 10 feet, like 10,000 feet tall or something, and then it shows you what would happen. That's all he uses it for. He just turns that on.
Yeah. Oh god, I fucking love it. And they've got that really good sight gag of him using the pool spider. It's like he's like a snooker cue. It's like, that's so fucking good. I think my favourite thing about Farnsworth, though, is just his on and off again relationship with Mom.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I think one of my favourite side characters of that entire show is Mom. Just 'cause she's so evil. She's so cartoonishly evil, it cracks me up every fucking time.
Yeah, where she's all sweet and innocent in public, and then she just gets out of that suit, and then she's so thin, and she's
like one of the moments that always puts me on my arse is like the Mother's Day episode, and it's like the giant killbot. It's like, this is from the heart! Fuck. It gets me every time. This giant fucking killbot. I love you, Mom. Fucking brilliant. What a great show.
I think one of my favourite episodes is when they get the iPhones and they actually get the technology put in their eye, and then they've just got like a screen in front of their eye. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't, but I can see that being a thing.
Yeah, because it's when I think they do. It's when they do like viral videos as well, and there's a scene where Fry can hear the singing, and it sounds like I Dreamed a Dream, I think it is. And he goes into the bathroom and he sees Leela, she's in like her underwear or swimsuit or something, and there's a boil on her bum that's singing. Oh. And Leela says it's called Susan Boyle, and he just sings I Dreamed a Dream, and like Fry films it without Leela's knowledge and then posts it online and it goes viral.
Thing is though, like, to end on, if we mention Susan Boyle, we can't not mention Susan's album launch party. And do you remember the exact hashtag they used? Because people out there they won't believe this is true, and this is 100% real. And so Susan Boyle, a singer in the UK, who was on like the X Factor or something like that, released a new album, and they called it Sue's Album Party. That was it.
Yeah.
But or Susan Album Party. And the hashtag was Susan Album Party, which when hashtag read Sue's Anal Bum Party. And the hashtag's like, who's joining in at Sue's Anal Bum Party? It's like, oh man, I don't want to go. That sounds like an awful time. I don't want to go there. That's terrible. Why would I do that?
Oh my god, I forgot about that hashtag.
How do you forget about Sue's Anal Bum Party, Nisha? It was so much fun.
Block it out of my brain. I'm just like blocking it. Like
Sue's Anal Bum Party.
I don't want to think about it.
You have to now. You have to confront it.